What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Homegrown Career Mode. This is episode number 18, and we start today's episode off with a game against Wolves here at St Mary's, coming on the back of back-to-back victories for the first time in God knows how long, as we take on Nuno's side, obviously a newly promoted side for this year's Premier League. And of course Wolves this season in real life be winning over quite a lot of fans due to the way they play. Obviously right now sitting comfortably in mid-table in the Premier League and doing quite well. But you know, for those who watched them in the Championship last season, and those who watch their transfer activity over the summer window, it's not a real surprise. You know, when a newly promoted side does well and starts the season off well, you know, a lot of people will say they're the surprise package of the division so far. You can't really say that about Wolves, because most people thought they would do well this season due to how well they strengthened in the window, and of course last season too. But Wolves did take the lead early on this game, and it was an absolute gaff from me as well, as I just gifted them the first goal of the game. And I've said this about Ultimate Difficulty this year, you know, I don't think it's like a massive step up from Legendary, but the one thing that is noteworthy about this year's difficulty is that if you make a mistake, you'll get punished. Oftentimes in Legendary, you can make an error like that and you get away with it. Not on Ultimate Difficulty. One mistake, they're in and they'll take advantage. Diego Jota, who right now is the second highest scorer in the division at this point in the game, made it 1-0 after I just gifted them the goal with Luke Shaw. And, well, it's a case of poor passing in the first 20 minutes from both teams, gifting each other chances. Should have taken that one through Jeremy Martin there, going through 1-on-1, put it off target, and then his header was well saved by Patricio, as eventually Wolves scrambled it away. So half-time, we were trailing by 1 due to that error by me. We were playing well, playing some decent football, and still looking capable of getting back on level terms at some point. And 63 minutes in, Nathan Redmond found Adam Lallana after a nice little ball roll. Adam took it around his man with a roulette, went for goal and found the back of the net as well to make it 1-1 and put us back on level terms. Really nice goal by Lallana as well. The receives the ball, has one man to beat, nice little roulette to give himself in the yard of space, takes aim and finds the back of the net as well. So back on level terms, no less than we deserved. We were playing really well in this game, you know, some good football, some nice chances being creative, but my finishing was really poor. And I have to say, you know, this game really does remind me a lot of FIFA 16. You know, I can create chances, but scoring them is another matter at times. But anyway, Lana would have finished there, second goal in the Premier League this season, and he put us back on level terms. And we had a chance to win it in stoppage time as well. Ethan Collins found the goal scorer Lallana into Ings. Once again, a nice little build-up here as Andrew Sermon at the ball run through his leg to find Luke Shaw. Shaw back into Sermon. Sermon through to Collins. Collins to Lallana. Back to Ethan Collins. In space for Rui Patricio with a big save there, turning behind for a corner and preventing the kid from winning us the game in stoppage time. So final score 1-1. Unfortunately, our win streak ends after just 2 games, but still not a bad result there against a decent Wolves side. And to be fair, Rui Patricio in this game was an absolute monster. We had 11 shots, 8 on target, but only the 1 goal scored. Yes, my finishing not the best, but Patricio absolutely fantastic. And a side note on Rui Patricio as well, obviously you'll see in the game and you see in real life if you watch football in real life, Rui Patricio wears the number 11 for Wolves. It's very uncommon that goalkeepers would take an outfield player's number from 2 to 11, but Patricio wears 11 this season for Wolves. Some of you might be perplexed as to why that actually is, and it's because Carl Keane, former Wolves goalkeeper, a long-serving goalkeeper at Molineux, was diagnosed with leukemia and subsequently was forced into retirement. And of course he wore the number 1 for Wolves, and as a gesture, as a token of Patricio's admiration for Keane, he decided to leave the squad number 1, which he would ordinarily wear and has worn throughout his career unassigned and unattached, as a gesture for Keane. It's a really nice story. You know, I can be anal sometimes with squad numbers, you know, certainly outfield players, but to have a goalkeeper wear number 11, had a goalkeeper worn like number 7 or number 8 or something, I'd be like, what's going on here? But it's actually a really nice gesture from Patricio to leave that squad number unassigned, is just to say, you know, that's Keane's number. He might have retired, but his bravery and the admiration he has for him deserves to see that number officially sort of retired as Keane's number, and no one can take that away from him. So it's a nice story, that, and sort of a feel-good factor in this year's Premier League. Anyway, for the second game of today's episode, we'll take on Newcastle United away at St James's Park. For right now, as you can see in the Premier League table, they're in the relegation zone, and with just a few games to go, Rafa Benitez's side are surely going down, as they've got a big deficit in points to make up. Otherwise, they're heading to the Championship, but they took the lead in this game, and if I could be at fault for the first goal you saw in today's episode conceded against Wolves for Diego Jota, I couldn't really be blamed for that one. A shot ricocheted right into the path for Kennedy, and the Brazilian made it 1-0 as the Magpies took the lead for a stroke of fortune. But the truth is, it might have been a lucky goal, but they were a much better team in the first half. They had me on the ropes for the entire first half, and after Joselu found some space and crossed it in, Patrick Cutrone made it 2-0. And we remember this guy from our Italian club and country last season with Palermo. He was fantastic for us with Palermo, and Cutrone made it 2-0 just before the break. And Newcastle United were not playing like a side right now, stuck in the relegation zone and certs to go down. I could not stop them coming forward. Every time they were attacking, I was like Bambi on ice in my defenders. I just could not control them and could not keep the Magpies at bay. So you can see the cameras pan to me there. I had no idea what to do at this point. I was really all over the place, but it was kind of interesting because I took a break directly after that goal because I ordered some Chinese food last night. Took a break, watched an episode of Rick and Morty, had a bit of food, refueled, unpaused the game, came back into it just for the break, and clearly I was just lacking the energy to really get back into the game because just a few minutes later, right before half time, 3 minutes into the additional 2 of stoppage time in the first half, Nathan Redmond with a nice little reverse step over and free ball found James Ward-Prowse, who got his second goal in 4 games and his 6th this season in the Premier League. He's been wearing the captain's armband more than any other player this season, and I do see him as our leader for the long term in this Saints team. He made it 2-1, a nice goal there as we were back in the game in half the deficit. We almost battled back from 2 goals down to find the equaliser 57 minutes in, and again it was James Ward-Prowse. He's been in great form in recent weeks, and been looking like one of our best players, denied by the goalkeeper as it was still 2-1. We were growing in confidence though, looking like we were going to find an equalising goal at any point, but so often in FIFA when you've got the momentum in your hands, it just takes one sucker punch and you'll be back out of the game once again. That's exactly what happened there. Newcastle, a quick little build up, found Patrick Cutrone, and Cutrone fires it home as the Italian makes it 3-1, restores the 2-goal cushion, and that was how the game finished. So 3 games undefeated, but now unfortunately a loss here away in the northeast of England. Rafa Benitez celebrates, but whether those celebrations will come in vain come the end of the season, I guess we'll have to wait and see. They're still in the relegation zone. They've not got much time to sort it out, but a big win there in their hunt for survival, led by Patrick Cutrone, Palermo legend. But still following the game, as you can see, Manchester United with 3 games to go have been crowned champions of the Premier League. So of course last year City won it, now Manchester United. So Manchester football doing quite well at the moment in the game as well in real life. And yeah, quite interesting too. They won it with 3 games to spare. Right now they're 11 points clear of Spurs and have the game in hand, and 12 points ahead of the current champion City. So they've wrapped the title up pretty quickly with 74 points on the board. And I don't understand why City just can't ever seem to be as dominant as they looked last season in real life in the game. City, I don't know whether you guys find the same in your saves, but City for me, they rarely win the Premier League title. I don't know why, but in the game, they're nowhere near as good as they are in real life. It's quite strange.
Well, it is the fixture that they say is the worst one to lose. That's the FA Cup semi-final, of course, but everyone wants to win it. They'll go to Wembley if they do. We're moments away. Join us for the kickoff, and it's live.
But for the third and final game of today's episode, we will take a trip to the capital to take on Stoke City at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final, with a chance to book our place at Wembley once again and reach our first cup final of the series. Of course, Chelsea versus Spurs in the other tie. You'll see who won that come the end of today's episode, as we took on the Championship side, who of course recently relegated from the Premier League last season. McCarthy, the penalty-saving hero in the last round against Arsenal, would of course keep his place between the sticks as we went back to a 4-4-2 for this game after a few games using the 4-3-3, because we used this system in every FA Cup game so far, and we got to the semi-finals using it, so why not try it in the semis as well? And both teams, of course, desperate to get to Wembley with a chance of silverware this season, and Stoke City, of course, trying to become the first Championship side to reach the final since who? Guess who? That's a bit trivia for you guys. Who's the last Championship side that reached the FA Cup final? Anyway, hopefully it wasn't going to be Stoke in this game. We were aiming to get the win here, and 6 minutes in, the first chance fell to us as well. And with all the attention on Theo Walcott this season, with the brilliant form he's been in since he arrived in January, just 7 minutes in after Redmond stormed down the left-hand side, he rolled it into Theo, but Theo was the dummy runner, and arriving was Andrew Sermon, who scored his first goal for the club a few games ago and made it 1-0 here 7 minutes in to give us the lead. Redmond stormed down the left-hand side, rolled it across again. Walcott just runs over the ball, confuses his man in the centre, and Sermon smashed it into the top corner to make it 1-0. He's already decreased the rating since we signed him in the summer. He's only here to provide squad depth, but he might be providing us a ticket to the FA Cup final with a great goal there to make it 1-0. But if we do get to the final, one man will thank more than any other, and I did not think I'd be saying this is Alex McCarthy, and you can see on the sidelines, I can't help but clap as well. I was McCarthy's toughest critic throughout the entire season for how poorly he started off, but McCarthy is really coming to his own in this FA Cup competition. What a save there as he kept it at 1-0 and kept us in the lead. Lallana squeezed this shot from range just wide the post just before the hour mark. It was still 1-0, but that was how the game finished. A very uneventful game. Stoke City seemed more concerned by possession and pass accuracy, like a lot of teams in this year's FIFA and the previous 3 FIFAs really, as they didn't really cause us too many sweats other than the one save McCarthy had to make. We made it through. Sermon's only goal of the game puts us through to Wembley once again for the FA Cup final, where as you can see we'll be taking on Spurs and the former Southampton manager Mauricio Pochettino at Wembley once again, as we'll try and get our first piece of silverware in the first season. It's been an inconsistent year, but it will certainly be a successful one if we can win the FA Cup final come the end of the season. That will end today's episode of the Homegrown Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching and hope you have enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy today's episode, then please drop a like. Much love, have a great day, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.